Welcome to ChatGPT Atlas tutorial for beginners. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through installation, everyday browsing, using the built-in chat panel, browsing memory, inline editing, and agent modes, the feature that lets Atlas perform tasks for you. If you use the internet for work, research, studying, planning, or organizing anything, this will make those tasks easier and faster. So let's start by installing Atlas and getting it set up. Installation and setup. To get started with ChatGPT Atlas, open a regular browser and go to chatgpt.com/atlas. This is the official download page. Atlas is currently available only on macOS and requires the most recent macOS version. Once the download finishes, open the file and drag the Atlas app into your applications folder, just like you would with any Mac app. When you launch Atlas for the first time, it will ask you to log in with your existing ChatGPT accounts. You can use a free account, a Plus plan, or a Pro plan. The core browser features work on all plans, but some of the more advanced features like agent mode are available only on paid plans. After logging in, Atlas offers to import data from your current browser. You can choose to bring over your bookmarks, browsing history, and save passwords from Chrome or Safari. After setup is complete, Atlas will open to the home screen. At the top of the window, you'll see your tabs, just like in any familiar browser. Below that is the search and address bar, where you can type a website address or a question for ChatGPT. If you imported your browser data, your bookmarks will appear below the bar, ready to click. And in the center of the home screen, you will see a ChatGPT prompt field. At this point, Atlas is installed, connected to your account, and ready to use. In the next chapter, we'll take a quick tour of the interface before we start using the AI features. Atlas interface. When Atlas opens, the layout is very simple. Along the very top of the window, you'll see your tabs. You can have multiple pages open at once, just like any normal browser. You can click the plus icon to open a new tab, drag tabs left to right to rearrange them, and close a tab by clicking the small X on it. Now, if you prefer shortcuts, you can close a tab using Command plus W and open a new tab with Command plus T. Just below the tabs is the address and question bar. This is the main field you'll be using. If you type a website address here, you'll go straight to that website. But you could also just type a question into the same bar and Atlas will respond using ChatGPT. There's no need to switch between search and chat. The browser understands what you're trying to do based on what you type. When you first land on the home screen, you'll see a clean layout with a ChatGPT prompt field in the center. This gives you a place to start a chat or ask a question right away before you even go to a website. So let's say you visit a website, for example, Wikipedia's page about cupcakes. Once the site loads, you'll see a button in the top right corner labeled Ask ChatGPT. If you click that button, a sidebar will slide out, and that's where ChatGPT can now see the page you're viewing and help you with it. You can ask it to summarize the page, explain something simply, extract details, compare ideas, or answer questions without needing to copy and paste anything. Also, in the top right corner, you'll see your profile picture. When you click it, you'll open the browser menu that includes your bookmarks, downloads, extensions, passwords, and settings, as well as the option to open a new incognito window if you want a browsing session that isn't saved to memory. This is also where you can customize Atlas later. Now, at this point, you understand the basic layout. Now, we're ready to start actually using Atlas, beginning with simple browsing, using ChatGPT on the web. Now that we understand the layouts, let's look at what makes Atlas different from a normal browser. The key feature is that you can bring ChatGPT into any page you're viewing. Let's open a web page so we can see how this works in practice. For example, cupcake page on Wikipedia. Look to the top right corner of the browser and click Ask ChatGPT. This opens a chat panel on the right side of the screen. In the chat panel, type Summarize this page in 5 points. You do not need to copy or paste anything. ChatGPT can already see the content of the page and can answer based on what you're looking at. From here, you can continue with follow-up questions. For example, explain the history section like I'm 12. Give me 3 key facts to remember. Because ChatGPT has context, you don't need to repeat yourself. You're having a conversation about the page in front of you. You can also be very specific. If there's one part of the cupcake article you want to focus on, just highlight that paragraph with your cursor and Atlas will include your highlighted text automatically. Now you can ask narrow questions like, Shorten this by 30%. Translate this into Spanish. This is the core idea of Atlas. You browse the web normally, and when you want an explanation or a shortcut, you ask, and the browser helps you directly. In the next chapter, we'll look at browser memory, which makes Atlas even more personal and helpful over time. Chapter 5, Browser Memory. Atlas includes a feature called Memory, which allows it to remember things that help you over time. By default, memory is turned off. You can decide whether to turn it on and how much of it you want to use. To access these settings, click your profile picture in the top right corner of the browser. Then go to Settings, then open Personalization. Here in the Memory section, you will see 3 different toggles. The first is Reference Saved Memories. This allows ChatGPT to use information it has remembered to help you. For example, if ChatGPT has stored a preference or a detail about an ongoing project, turning this on allows it to use that information automatically in future responses. The second toggle is Reference Chat History. This allows ChatGPT to use your past conversations as context. If this is on, ChatGPT can look back at recent chats to understand what you were working on. If this is off, each conversation will start fresh. The third toggle is Reference Browser Memories. This is specific to Atlas. When this is on, Atlas can remember things you do inside the browser, such as websites you visit often or patterns in your browsing. This makes it easier to retrieve pages later without needing to remember the exact website yourself. For example, you can type something like, "Find travel website I looked at yesterday," and Atlas can locate it if browser memory is enabled. If you want to see exactly what has been remembered, click Manage Memory. In this section, you can review any saved memories, delete specific entries, or clear everything at once. You can also manage or delete browser memories separately by selecting Browser Memories from the same menu. This gives you full control over what is saved and what is removed. There is one helpful best practice when using memory. If you are working on something you want to return later, it's best to tell ChatGPT directly. For example, you can say, "Remember this project for later," or "Please store this information in memory." When you do that, Atlas knows that this specific detail should be kept. The same applies in reverse. If there is something you do not want remembered, you can say, "Don't remember that," or "Remove that from memory." This keeps your memory clean, and it allows Atlas to be genuinely helpful instead of trying to guess what matters. Next, we'll look at inline editing, where you can highlight text directly on a web page and have Atlas help you rewrite, shorten, or clarify it without copying and pasting. Inline editing, cursor chat. Another feature that makes Atlas useful in everyday work is the ability to edit text directly where you're writing without switching tabs or copying and pasting. Let's walk through a simple example using Google Docs. If you write a sentence that feels unclear or too long, just highlight the part you want to improve. When you highlight it, you'll notice a small ChatGPT icon appear near your selection. Click that icon. A small input bar will open that says, "Describe your change." In that box, you can tell ChatGPT exactly what you want. For example, "Make this more concise." ChatGPT will generate a revised version right there. If you like the results, click Update, and Atlas will replace the text directly in the Google Doc for you. The same feature also works in Gmail when writing emails. If you highlight a sentence inside your draft, the same ChatGPT icon will appear. You can ask for changes the same way and apply the update back into your email. This is separate from the ChatGPT sidebar on the right. The sidebar is for bigger questions and page-level context. Inline editing is for precise, small improvements to the text you're actively typing. Not every website supports automatic replacement, but most standard text fields do. The easiest way to tell is simply to try highlighting. If the ChatGPT icon appears, inline editing is available. If it doesn't, you can still copy text into the sidebar manually and work from there. Next, we'll look at how search works in Atlas. Search in Atlas. To search in Atlas, use the address bar at the top of the browser. We will write Cupcake History and press Enter. The page that opens is the ChatGPT summary view. It gives you a direct explanation of the topic, and you can continue the conversation right there by typing follow-up questions. For example, explain why cupcakes become popular in home baking. The answer appears immediately in the same chat space without switching tabs. At the top of the page, you'll also see the other search options: search, images, and videos. If you click search, you'll see the more traditional list of web links. So, as a summary, Atlas gives you two ways to work. You can understand the information through chat, or you can browse the web results directly without ever losing your place or starting over. The next step is the feature that makes Atlas feel different from a normal browser. This is where ChatGPT can actually do things for you, not just explain things. That feature is called Agent Mode. Agent Mode, perform tasks. Agent Mode allows Atlas to take action inside websites, clicking, typing, scrolling, and completing tasks that would normally require you to sit and do them manually. To use Agent Mode, open the ChatGPT sidebar from the Ask ChatGPT button in the top right corner. At the bottom of the sidebar, you'll see a small plus icon. Click that and select Agent Mode. This enables Atlas to interact with the page instead of only responding with text. Right next to the plus icon, you'll see a toggle for logged in versus logged out mode. Logged in means the agent can use the accounts you're already signed into, for example, Instacart. Logged out means the agent can browse but won't sign into anything. This is a simple way to control access before starting a task, and you can switch it at any time. Now, let's walk through a real example. In the ChatGPT sidebar, with Agent Mode enabled, type "Find a simple cupcake recipe online and add the ingredients to my Instacart shopping cart." Send the message and you'll see a second cursor appear. This is the agent working. It will search for recipe, visit Instacart, identify the ingredients, and add them to your cart. You don't need to click anything. You can simply watch or step away and return later. When it's finished, it will stop at the cart page. You still review and confirm checkout manually. The agent doesn't place orders or spend money. This kind of task is where Agent Mode is most useful. Situations where you know what needs to be done, but not every step is worth your time. Searching, opening pages, scrolling, selecting items, transferring information from one page to another. You describe the goal, and Atlas handles the clicking. Now, let's walk through one more example to show you how Atlas helps you with everyday decisions. Real-world example. Open Amazon and search for blenders. Then, click Ask ChatGPT in the top right to open the sidebar. Type, "Compare the top blender listings on this page. Summarize average price range, common qualities, and the most frequent complaints from reviews." Atlas will then analyze the listings that are currently visible. In my case, it compared models like the Ninja, the Vitamix Explorian, and Biolo Mix budget model. The summary was straightforward. The Ninja is more affordable and versatile, but can be noisy and some parts may wear out over time. The Vitamix is more expensive, but blends smoother, is easier to clean, and tends to last longer. The Biolo Mix is very inexpensive and powerful, but durability varies and it can be quite loud. Then I asked a follow-up question in the same chat. Which option has the best balance of price and quality? Atlas explained that the Vitamix Explorian Renewed Premium offers the best long-term value. It costs more upfront, but it blends better and tends to last for years, making it cheaper over time than replacing cheaper blenders every couple of years. So, with one comparison prompt and one follow-up question, I got a clear recommendation. So, that's the basics of ChatGPT Atlas. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more tutorials like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.